And you're very welcome to Fitzwilliam for our live stream of the Girls 2020 William Fry Junior Lawn Tennis Championship Finals, which this year are being played on clay. Tennis Ireland have partnered with HPV Studios to live stream a selection of girls' matches on the finals day here, 2022. This live streaming initiative, generously funded by Sports Ireland through their Women in Sports programme and delivered through Tennis Ireland's Women in Tennis programme. And we're going to start with the girls under 16 finals on court 2. And it is the fourth seed, Rachel Deegan, who's taking on Sophie O'Hanlon, the number 2 seed. Rachel with the visor, who's at the near end, and at the far end it is Sophie O'Hanlon. And being joined this morning by Lisa O'Shea. And we're going to show this game and then the girls under 18. So it's great to have this live stream up and running as well to see perhaps the future stars of Irish tennis.
It is. It's a nerve-wracking day for the girls as they warm up there. They're getting their 3 to 4 minute warm up in. Just get rid of the nerves, hit the ball, get used to the wind. There's a little bit of wind here in Fitzwilliam today, but thankfully the sun is shining. Perfect conditions for tennis if the wind dies down a little bit, but no rain. And both girls in their warm-up, they're now serving away. They're hitting it nicely. They're moving. Just get rid of those few last nerves. This is a big day for both of them. One of them is going to walk away the under-16 national champion of tennis. So an exciting day, but a nerve-wracking one as we hit the start of this under-16 final.
And it's quite windy, isn't it? And they're actually playing on clay. This is a lawn tennis tournament. It's supposed to be a lawn tennis tournament, but obviously in clay. So do these two girls know much about playing on clay, or do they play in clay a lot?
Clay is relatively new to Ireland. We don't have the climate to play on clay all the time. But both these two, they train out of David Lloyd Riverview. Sophie is a member here in Fitzwilliam as well, so she plays. They have 4 wonderful clay courts here that she would use regularly. They train in Bushy Park. Both of them have played in European tournaments this summer. That would have been on clay. So clay isn't unusual for them. The one who has the most patience, to be honest, will win this game. They both hit the ball hard. They step into it. They hit it flat. But they're going to have patience. You're going to have to build up the point here, construct the point. They're not going to be hitting winners off the first or second ball. So we're in for a long match, I would think. My prediction would be both these play very similarly. And they are, I think it's going to be a close one. I can't call this one. I think they're great friends. They train together. They're doubles partners. They're in the final of the under-16 doubles later on today. So I think the one who shows the most patience today, who builds up that point and is clever when she goes for her winning shot, is going to be the victor here today.
Well, Rachel beat the number 1 seed, Rachel Reid, in the semi-finals. So perhaps coming in as the favourite here?
She could be. She beat Rachel Reid in straight sets, which is a great win. That's a super notch for her. Sophie had a slightly easier semi-final in that she played an opponent, Chloe Collins, who had to retire. But here we go with Rachel Deegan kicking off this under-16 girls final.
Our umpire today is James Brophy, seen there to the right-hand side. That's a good start. Yeah, good start for Rachel. Kind of opened up the court really with forcing Sophie into that backhand. You can see it here now. Just pushes it into the back of the court, and then the left-hand side is wide open.
And that's what I'm saying about playing on clay, John. You'll have to build up the point and then go for your winner. And that's exactly, I know it's only the first point, but that's what Rachel did there.
That's a mishit.
Just a bit loose at the start. It's going to be like that for a game or two. Totally understandable as they get used to dealing with the jitters of being in a national final, but that'll settle down soon.
We don't have our graphics up quite yet, so we'll keep the score going as we go along. It's 30-love. Yeah, good drop shot.
Super point. You're going to see a lot of this now, John. They're going to show all their different skills here. You saw a slice backhand there from Rachel, followed immediately by that drop shot from Sophie. That's the beauty of clay court tennis. They're going to have to show all their different skills, moves, shots today. So, it is the one super advantage of watching clay court tennis.
It looked long, but umpire says it was in. So 40-15.
Good serving from Rachel. It finishes that game with an ace, and no better feeling in the final of this magnitude to get through your service game to 15 and to throw in a couple of winners and some nice serves. So one love to Rachel Deegan.
Yeah, nice way to finish. An ace.
Serves are important on clay, but they're not the most important shot. So you can't really get too many cheap points. If you play on grass and you have a good serve, you're pretty much guaranteed to almost always win your service game. Clay is slightly different. The returner has a much better chance to get the ball back. But we did see the effectiveness there of Rachel's serve. So if she has a good serving day today, if she gets a high percentage of her first serves in and directs the ball well, she'll get Sophie out of court and she can set up that point like we spoke about earlier.
Well, you can't really see it on camera. Maybe the bush is down at the bottom of your screen there, give you an indication. The wind is actually quite strong here. So, Sophie is one game to nil down.
You're very, very welcome to the front to celebrate the William Fry Junior Lawn Tennis Championship of Ireland 2022. Last year,
And you're welcome back to the commentary of this girls under 16 final. Rachel Deegan, the 4th seed, against Sophie O'Hanlon. The number 2 seed is now serving at 2-2. We had a presentation here at Fitzwilliam, which interrupted our commentary, so hopefully it didn't take away from your enjoyment. Good start for Deegan, led by 2 games to love, but a few unforced errors and too many double serves has now given a chance for Sophie O'Hanlon to get back into the match, and it's 2-2 in this first set. And that's out, as we've been watching here. Lisa O'Shea. It was a very good start by Deegan, but Sophie O'Hanlon's worked her way into the game, not particularly by her own brilliant tennis, by a lot of unforced errors, though, from Deegan.
Well, if you notice, though, Sophie is coming into net now a lot more. She's playing aggressive tennis. Unusual on clay to come into net, but she's winning her points when she does come in. You've noticed that the rallies have got a bit longer. We're seeing the loopy ball now, typical clay court play.
Love 15.
Few unforced errors creeping in here from Rachel. She was the champion here last year under 14, so that means this is her first year under 16. She's a year younger than Sophie, who was the runner-up in the under 16s last year. So maybe that difference of a year will make a difference in the long run here. But a couple of unforced errors creeping in from Rachel now.
Love 30 in this opening set. Best of 3. That was a let. Good forehand onto the backhand.
She
couldn't dig it out.
Yeah, she steps into that forehand. She hits it very flat. Not a huge amount of topspin when she goes for those winners, but you're getting your opponent out of the court. You see, she can take Rachel out of the court there. She's sliding well. She's well able to play on clay, Rachel, but just the force of that forehand, too much for her.
Love 30. Could have pulled out of that serve, actually. The wind seemed to take it. 15-30. 2-2 in games. And now 30 all. Both players seem to be forcing each other onto the back of the court. As you mentioned, Sophie has been coming into the net a couple of times, but both players seem to be forcing each other to the back of the court.
Yeah, on the clay, that high ball will drive you back way behind the baseline. But both these can play doubles. That means they can both volley. So I think the one that comes into net is going to win a little bit more, a few more points today.
Doubles partners, these two as well.
Mm-hmm.
$30 all. Again, one of those unforced errors.
13-40. So for the first time, Sophie takes the lead in this match. She goes up 3-2. She's hitting her ground strokes just a little bit more solidly than Rachel. Rachel's forehand is going a little awry. If you notice, she's stepping in, but just overcooking it a little bit. So that will almost certainly rectify itself as she goes through the match and she copes with the wind. It doesn't look windy, but that wind is swirling. And when you're hitting 7, 8, 9 balls per point, these are long points on the clay, you've really got to adjust to that wind. So at the moment, Sophie playing a little bit more aggressively, but with constructively doing it. She's not going for outrageous winners, but she is building that point and coming into net. And of course, if you're going to come into net on clay and you've got your opponent in the tram lines, you have a fairly good chance of hitting that volley winner. Two tall girls, they both got good serves, they can both volley, they're both athletic. Playing on clay, you've got to be in good physical condition. You could be out here for a while. Sophie didn't have a long semi-final, so she's nicely rested. But they've both played singles, doubles and mixed here. Sophie won the mix last night, so they've got a lot of matches under their belt over the last 7 days.
Yeah, to say that was short is underplaying it. That semi-final against Chloe Collins. Sophie was 2 games to love up before Collins retired. 3-2 in favour of Sophie O'Hanlon, the number 2 seed. Having lost the opening 2 games, she's now won 3 in a row, and she's serving. Oh, a nice whipped forehand across court. Forces the error.
So you can see where that physical conditioning comes in. These are long points. You only have the 25 seconds between points from the end of one to the start of the next. And the sun has come out here, so both these girls are fit.
Again, an unforced error. To our eyes, that looked like it was going to head out down the tram lines, but Rachel Deegan decided to play it on the volley and straight into the net, so 30 love. And that good start she had, leading by 2 games to nil, is dissipated in this first set. Now 3-2 down and 30 love down in this 6th game.
Yeah, we're seeing quite a few double faults today. I think that's a combination of wind and nerves. You know your opponent's going to attack that second serve, and that wind has to be taken into account. So we have seen quite a few from both players today. So the one that gets that serve under control first has a much better chance of setting up that point when they're in that serving position.
30-15. Long now, 30 all. It'd be a good time for Deegan to break back, wouldn't it, in this first set?
It would. It seems when one is in front, they just can't quite take advantage. Maybe it's the other one coming back, but
again, Long, frustrated. Left hand thumps her thigh in frustration. Break point. Serves are just getting a little wild now.
we saw Rachel be a bit more aggressive in that point. At least she was stepping into that forehand, hitting it flatter, moving her opponent, moving Sophie around. But in the end, she just went for a little bit too much there, and that error into the bottom of the net takes Sophie to deuce.
First deuce we've seen in this first set. Ooh, Long. Oh, you can see a reaction at the far end from Rachel Deegan.
Always frustrating when you get to a drop shot and you then
Put it out of play.
Put it out of play. You've done the hard work. perhaps a lob over Sophie's head might have been the wiser option there.
Advantage of Hanlon. Oh, had the chance. Trying to play it onto a backhand, but hit the tram line and out of play, so back to Juice. We'll just clip the top of the net.
You can see those long rallies coming back into play. We're going to see that a lot in this match, and both girls will need to and will start hitting a little deeper. You can see they're really only hitting it between the service and the baseline at the moment, but when they force their opponent back, you'll see the other one come into net.
Chance for Deegan to break back, make it 3-3. She has the advantage. Oh,
well, she was going for it, and good to see, you know, the one who is patient but takes the opportunity is often the victor. But
yeah, she tried for the highest part of the net there as well, and if it climbed it probably would have been out anyway. So we're back to Juice. A long game, this one.
Oh, I don't know. She just didn't execute that drop shot well. She's already hit 2 superb drop shots in these first 6 or 7 games, but that one wasn't. It wasn't disguised, and it just didn't have the height.
Advantage back to Deegan again. Trying to level this up at 3-3. Good rally, good kill too. Frustration from the server, but we're back level again in this opening set of this girls under 16 final. Rachel Deegan and Sophie O'Hanlon now back to 3 games apiece. You'll see at the top of the screen it actually says 2-3, but the girls obviously change the score every 2 games, so it's 3-all in this first set.
We're starting to see Rachel become a bit more aggressive now, waiting. She waited 3 or 4 good balls into the corner there before she stepped in, took that opportunity and whacked that forehand into Sophie's backhand side. So it may look unusual, that high ball coming in. People might wonder, how in goodness gracious me is that going to work? You're forcing your opponent. You can see the girls are going back into that back fence. If they don't hit that back with any length, your opponent is in and on the attack immediately. So it is a good ploy that they're both using here.
Ooh, that hit the line and bounced up, so 15 all. And that's the one thing about clay court tennis as well, is the white lines are just slightly elevated above the clay, so when it hits, it can bounce up and just surprise you.
It's where those fancy feet come in again. If you're light on your feet, you can adapt, you can change, you can adjust very quickly when that ball does go off in a different direction to what you're anticipating. Clay court is very different to other surfaces. Yeah, so just a great deep return there from Sophie, and you know that we're going to see that a bit more now as they loosen up, as they become more confident, as they relax a bit. They will hit that ball deeper, and when it comes back like that, you could see that Rachel Deegan couldn't do much. She was playing off the back foot, and her next ball went out.
15-30. It looked long and was. James Brophy, our umpire, signifying that. Important second serve coming up. That too is long. So 15-40, chance to break back immediately.
In this crucial seventh game, we always say it's a crucial game at 3-all in a set, because getting that 4-3 advantage, you're just so close to that finish line of the set if you are up. So big point here for Rachel Deegan.
Oh, now she's under pressure. Second serve coming. 15-40 down. Oh, just too much. Unlucky.
Oh, look, she came into net though, and she didn't have too many opportunities to actually hit a volley winner there. She stretched well. She's a tall girl, she's long limbs, so she got that first volley back very well. But Rachel didn't buckle. She hit through the ball and managed to force the error out of Sophie to give herself a bit more chance in this game. She's 30-40 down in serving though.
Still break point. That's well out. So an immediate break back and a 2-game advantage now.
There's a miss hit from Rachel, unlucky there because she hit through in her first backhand, and she had a super second serve with the wind, break point down, and she put a very solid second serve in. But unfortunately that second backhand went off the frame, and she now sees herself 4-3 down in this opening set against Sophie O'Hanlon.
Sophie O'Hanlon is seeded 2 from the David Lloyd Centre. She beat Railton Stara in the first round by 2-0, and then disposed of Verona Fitzgerald 6-love 7-5. And we mentioned earlier on, Chloe Collins retired in the first set, 2 games to love down to O'Hanlon. And neither of these players have dropped a set on the way to this final. Rachel Deegan seeded 4 and beat Mia Galvin 6-4, 6-2. Then Catherine Gow 6-2, 6-2 in the second round. And big result really from this under 16 girls tournament is that the number 1 seed, Rachel Reid, was dispatched quite easily 6-4, 6-1 in the semi-final by Rachel Deegan. So perhaps the favourites tag was on Deegan coming into this game, and in fact she holds the whip hand over Sophie O'Hanlon. They're 7-2 in games against each other, and a 5-game unbeaten run as well for Deegan.
Yeah, but Sophie did lose that under-16 final last year, and there's nothing like a loss the year before to get the fires burning when you got that opportunity again.
So Hanlon trying to save her serve here, leading 4-3 in this first set. Good cross court, and the little fist pump.
That's what we expect from Rachel Deegan, hitting it like that, setting up the point, stepping in and going for that winner. So if we see more of that, we'll see a lot more untentative play, and we'll see more winners coming off the rackets of both girls.
Looked long, obviously hit the line.
Got the line, so a good point there, because we saw again slice backhand and not very well executed drop shot, but she got away with it, and then in the end Sophie was able to put away that volley winner, bang on the line.
Right on the line. Naked eye, it looked like it was the other side. 15 all now. Long.
Too much on that, but we are seeing a variety of shots from both girls, and at their young age, just so good to see they're not just boxing the ball and have no idea then how to cope on clay or with their opponent or with the changing weather conditions. So really good to see that they are using their full repertoire of shots.
15-30. Now 30 all. Big serve to hold here, leading 4-3. Tries the drop. Oh, doesn't come off. Just clips the top of the net. And it's break point.
Probably wasn't the wisest time to try that drop shot. Rachel was on her way in anyway. She wasn't off the court. She was close enough to it. She would have got it had it gone over. Break point.
That's nicely played. Two cross courts, forced her opponent wide on the second occasion, and the drop shot did her.
The drop shot was superbly executed this time. Now Rachel got to it. She's a fit girl. She's fast. She's very quick around the court. But superbly executed there. You see she got under the ball, and Rachel, just unlucky enough, clipped the bottom of the tape of the net there. Brings us to deuce.
Oh, that bounced up nicely. Couldn't take advantage though. That ball was long. Advantage Deegan.
Oh, and that wind is really whipping up now. Very difficult for both, but particularly the server.
And long. And we're seeing a lot of breaks of serve in this first set. It's 4-4.
We're seeing Rachel construct the points a little better now. She'll play off that backhand all day long. So Sophie is going to have to come up with a slightly different strategy here. She's pumping her forehand to Rachel's backhand, but it's not giving her anything. Rachel is hitting that backhand nice and deep back to her. So I think she's going to have to throw in the loopy ball to Rachel's forehand and come into net. She's been successful so far today in that aggressive coming forward style of play. So here we are at 4-all, seeing can Rachel Deegan hold serve to go 5-4 up.
Deegan closest to camera with the visor, a 4th seed against Sophie O'Hanlon, seeded number 2 at the far end. Double fault.
What's happening on those double faults, they're not putting enough top spin on it in these conditions. So hitting it flat, it's a 50-50 chance of it going in. You just have to really adapt to that wind and put as much top spin as you can, let it go high over the net and hope it bounces in.
Yeah, with this wind, it seems to be advantage the receiver at this moment in time. Serving's difficult. Again, that was one that was perhaps she could have retaken. It was high arching back and put it straight into the net. She's still 15 down.
Yeah.
That was long. So again, double fault, and the server under pressure. Love 30.
It's hard in this situation. You put in 2 double faults. Do you just totally slow it down and give your opponent a chance to step in and whack that return, or do you try to stay confident and keep going for it? Let's see what she does.
Both players look quite frustrated in their attempts to get their first serves in. She's love 30 down. Pressure on this, our second serve. Too much pressure. So 3 game points.
So you can see on that serve there, John, no slice, but no topspin. No, she didn't come over the ball at the top to just plonk that ball in. So it was so much easier said than done here when we're watching. There's pressure, there's nerves, and there's wind, and you have an opponent who's willing to step in and hit it.
So it's 4 games all. And love 40 on the Deegan serve. $15.40 now. Just getting our graphics sorted out for you. Hopefully it'll be up and running now very shortly. And this girls under 16 final, where it stands at 4 games apiece. And 15.40 on this Rachel Deegan serve. Still 2 break points for Sophie O'Hanlon, the number 2 seed. Oh. What a chance, an opportunity that was to take the game, but just a little bit.
Just a little cagey, a little tight. She can volley. O'Hanlon is a good doubles player. I think it was almost too easy.
Yeah, fait accompli.
Yeah.
And
particularly on break point, and she had set that point up well. But here she goes on her 3rd break point for a 5-4 lead in this first set.
Back to Juice. Well, she saved 3 game points, and she knows how important That last point was trying to hold serve here.
You just see, John, she's coming under the ball as she hits that serve. She's not coming over it, and that's why they're floating long as opposed to going into the middle of the net or in.
Juice, second serve.
That has got to be seen as a missed opportunity. She was just slightly more aggressive and on the attack in that point. Back had saved those 3 break points, as you mentioned, and had that opportunity. It wasn't going to be a winner down the line, but it was certainly going to put her in a good position in that point. So she'll be raging with herself for missing that one.
Yeah, about a foot out. Advantage now O'Hanlon. Chance. Takes it. 5-4.
We haven't seen a huge amount of winners so far. It's been slightly more forced and unforced errors. But you see, she stepped in there and she grabbed that opportunity on her 4th break point. Always coming in. Great to see the young girls moving into the net, not to be scared of coming forward and putting those short balls or those volleys away. So 5-4 up, she's serving, but today with the wind, that's not necessarily an advantage.
I've seen plenty of breaks of serve in this opening set. We knew it was going to be a tight encounter between these two who know each other so well, doubles partners.
Friends, neighbours, played each other many a time, and they will go on to play each other many more times. It'll come down to who holds their nerve, who wants it more, who's prepared to stay out there. They're both, as I say, fit girls. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But both are used to being in the final. You know, Rachel has won the under-14s. Sophie lost the under-16s last year, has won the mixed a couple of times and won it, in fact, yesterday with Johnny Wilkinson. So neither of them are going to be, at this stage, nervous. They're well used to being in finals. They're used to playing tons of matches. They're used to the clay. So it's just really who performs better on the day and who grabs their chances.
Well, Sophie's never won an individual title here, but has won that doubles, as you say, yesterday. Now serving for the opening set, but can one of these two girls hold their serve? Serving not easy in that very strong breeze. You can't see it on your camera there. Maybe you can see with some of the leaves fluttering across the court at the far end, but the trees at the far end we can see from our commentary position blowing very hard. So 5-4, Sophie O'Hanlon. My word, some of those returns will have snow on them coming down, and tried to, the overarm smash, didn't work, straight into the net. So 15 love.
And there was nowhere left for Rachel to go there, so a very clever shot from Sophie. The wind that you're mentioning, John, it's not going one way or the other, which often we find when we go out to play a tennis match. So you're either with the wind or against the wind. It's a swirly wind. So there is no advantageous side here. They have to adjust their game on both sides.
Deegan now within 3 points of taking the opening set in this girls under 16 final.
And that is definitely an unforced error. A big chance. She was already she had to keep that return in play just to make Sophie play the ball.
30-15 now.
Super play from Rachel there, waiting, biding her time, moving Sophie around, and eventually putting a ball 2 inches from the baseline, making it very, very difficult for Sophie to do anything with.
Sophie Niland, 30-15, 5-4 up. Both just hunting for an opening this long rally. Neither prepared to yield. And forces the error. Forehand down the line. And the ball out. Pulls it back to 30 all.
Great play from both girls there, but Rachel was always just slightly more aggressive and looking for that opening, bided her time. Her backhand is not letting her down today at all. She's been very solid on it. And that's before she's begun hitting those winners off it. She's just hitting it deep.
30 all then in this opening set of the girls under 16 final.